that we've already looked to work on. I know a lot of us have had some, exciting plans for 2020. And if you live in the Nashville area, for a lot of us, it doesn't seem like what we've planned, is going to come into fruition. But I think otherwise, Zap. I think that out of devastation, out of chaos, out of uncertainty comes like the most amazing, most innovative ways of conducting business, or positioning a service, a product that wasn't quite ready for the market prior to. So getting ready to relaunch or maybe launch a new concept right now post corona is going to be amazing. Definitely.
Awesome. Do you want to share your screen, Lovely?
All right, yeah, let's get into it.
We'll get started, I think. Oh, I'll just add some, before we get started, just some protocol or etiquette. If you haven't used Zoom yet, now's the great time to learn. There is at the bottom of the screen, there's a chat. So you're welcome to kind of, as questions pop up, send in anything you have, and I'll be kind of checking on it. As well as if you go to the bottom, manage participants, or yeah, usually it's there. I think I have a different thing because I'm running it, but there's an option to raise your hand. So that's another way to kind of get our attention if you do have. Yes? I thought I heard something. Otherwise, everyone's on mute, but you can DM me if you would like to be unmuted to ask a question, or just post in the chat. But other than that, we'll kind of virtually, hard to do a virtual applause, but imagine a wonderful welcoming applause for the fabulous Lovely Lancaster. And yeah, I'll let you take it away, Lovely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for that, Zap. And listen, everyone, welcome so much. I do just want to remind you that this webinar is powered by the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, as well as Celebrity Group BMI. And I am just privileged and grateful to be your facilitator, and we're just going to jump right into it. So the title of today's training is Accelerate Business Planning, and this is business planning according to the standards of the SBA. And for those of you who do not know what that acronym stands for, it is the Small Business Association. So let's just go right into it. And actually, I went ahead a little bit. So the objectives of this workshop is to understand what the SBA standards for business plans are, as well as developing a game plan for step-by-step implementation, and most importantly, to help you get access to the resources needed to overcome business startup challenges. Now, this entire series is going to go over the course of 4 sessions. So we're hoping to have them as a lunch and learn, but due to the circumstances of the coronavirus, we decided to make it a webinar. So our concentration in this training is going to be in the developmental stages of starting a business, which is going to be the concept development, goal setting, and then of course drafting your executive summary. All right, so just to put a face, to the voices, my name is Lovely Lancaster. I am the young lady in the blue shirt. And then we have Haley Zap, and we are out of the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. I am actually industry advisor. So if you are, a small business owner and you're looking to get maybe some advice to grow your business, I am one of about 300 advisors that you can book an appointment with through the EC. And Zap, she is absolutely amazing when it comes to the products, or shall I say services, and programs that are available just by being a part of the EC. And she's going to go a little bit over that later. If you do want to follow us, or like she said, if you got any questions, or if you want to raise your hand, please hit us up on Instagram. Our handles are on the bottom of the screen. Zap's is Haley Zap, and I am officially Lovely Lancaster. Again, we will be keening in on our DMs to stay in contact with you guys. So if you do have a question, I could go ahead and address it. I'm going to do my best to keep this as informal as possible because I want all of you to get as much out of this webinar as possible because this is your precious time and I want to make sure that you get of it what you're hoping. All right, so I want us to be mindful of what's going on. So right now, we are not at the EC like expected, and that's simply because we are exercising our obedience to social distancing. So if there's anything that I say that gives you like an aha moment, I would like for you to share it either on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform that you consistently publish on, and just have the hashtag social distant learning in there. And the reason why is we want to inspire others to think of more innovative ways to still be a part of the community without necessarily engaging like we usually do. And Zap, I don't know about you, but I am going to be really funny about shaking hands after this. Like I'm so used to giving people my elbow. I don't know if I'm ever going to revert. So listen, use the hashtag social distant learning if you have an aha moment. All right. So let's get into stats, guys. According to the SBA, there are over 28 million small businesses that make up over 99% of all businesses within the United States. 60% of new businesses with employees will fail within the first 2 years, and another 50% of those remaining will fail within the first 5 years. So what is a small business according to the SBA? Well, it depends on your industry, but a small business could be defined as a business that has a maximum of 250 to as much as 1,500 employees. They are privately owned corporations, partnerships, or sole proprietorships that have less revenue than larger businesses. So keep in mind, a lot of us is in the same pool in reference to small business. 99% of all the businesses within the United States are considered small business. So it's really a big pool. And then there's maybe 1%, if that's considered big business. So we're really is going to focus on how to grow as a small business because the spectrum is so wide based on the SBA definition. So if you do not have employees, what are you considered if not a small business, which is a really good question. And I always reference Robert Kiyosaki for this question. This picture that you see before you pretty much, nail it. It's all based on how you actually get paid, right? So we have employees, we have self-employed, and which is the active side, meaning that you're probably trading some time for money. But then we have a passive side where there's big business or investors, okay? So the majority of us is either going to be on the active side between the quadrants of E and S. So it's really important to understand where you stand in, as far as the playing field go, as far as big business or small business, because there's a lot of implications that comes with that, especially tax implications. So I just want you guys to be mindful as to where you stand, so that way you know what rules of engagement apply to you. All right, why do 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years? Well, here is a list of what I found according to the SBA website. And I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to explain them. But if any of these resonate with you, again, just, share it on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag social distant learning. But there's going to be an indication where maybe you just do not have the marketing in place to sustain your business long term. A huge one would be insufficient capital raised to secure your business, 5 years and beyond. Lack of adequate leadership is going to be a big one. I think that's why so many people invest in franchises versus, startups. It's going to be a lack of partnerships, which 80% of your revenue should come from partnerships. And we'll talk about that later on in the series. Maybe you have a poor product or service or bad business model, poor customer service, inability to pivot, which this is a really big one, especially now with the coronavirus. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have truly been focusing on pivoting my business model for occasions like this so my revenue doesn't dry up. Because we know as business owners, especially if you're self-employed, such as myself, your inability to pivot could mean basically, bankrupting your business. So that is a huge one right now. Also, bad location and mismanagement of resources. All right. So let's get into solutions, guys. And the biggest solution is simply, writing an effective business plan. Because according to the SBA, 90% of businesses will launch without an effective and well thought out business plan. 90%. So what that means is if 80% of businesses are failing within the first, 5 years, a big, portion of them have failed just simply because they did not effectively write out their game plan for longevity. Okay, which is why this webinar is so important. So, guys, it takes a team of professionals to write an effective business plan and implement it. So I want to let you know that although you may be in business by yourself, if you want to succeed past those 5 years and thrive, you cannot be in business by yourself. Okay, it's very important. And it's going to take a team of consultants. I consider myself a consultant. I focus on, business and financial strategies that help you sustain full time. But you're also going to need attorneys, accountants, marketing professionals, realtors, as well as industry specialized experts to help guide you through the hurdles. And there's no better place than the EC, the Entrepreneur Center, to help you get started to build those relationships. I always tell people, if you have not spoken to these key team members yet, do not start your business, or at least, re-examine where you're at in the process of launching for, sustainability, because they can really save you from a lot of the pitfalls that a lot of people, actually, cause for, failure. And that's the one thing that we want to avoid. So before writing a business plan and or launching your business concept, it is very important to do your research. And that research starts with actually advising your team. All right, so the groundwork of actually launching a business and writing a business plan is going to be the development stage. And in the development stage, we're going to key on these particular 3 areas. So once you have your concept in mind, meaning you know what it is that you want to do, it's now time to get all of your resources together. And if you are writing notes, I do want you to write this down. In this process of developing your concept, you're going to need an imagination. You are also going to need, I call it your tool belt of experiences. And then most importantly, you're going to need a dose of passion. Without those 3 things, you cannot completely get your business off the ground. And I want you guys to excuse me, but I'm having a bit of hay fever. So every now and then I'm going to have to clear my voice. All right, guys. So If you have a blank sheet of paper in front of you, I would like for you to get that out, because at this time we're going to do a short brainstorming session. And this is really important. And even at, the highest level of success within your business, you are going to want to brainstorm consistently throughout the process of launching and maintaining your business. Okay. So for the next 3 minutes, I want you to jot down every idea that comes to mind that will provide some value, generate revenue, as well as promote a culture for the business of your dreams. So I just want you to picture how your business is going to run while it's thriving. Okay. While it's thriving, write down everything that relates to how you see your business at its best. All right. So I am starting that timer now. I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes, and I apologize. I do not have any music for you. So, but sometimes silence is best. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. All right. So we got about 1 more minute. All right. So I hope you guys were able to jot down some amazing ideas. And that's why using your imagination is so important, because a lot of the things that we want is already within us. And that's what I tell my clients. Listen, when you get in front of me, you already have everything you need to be successful. My job is to help guide you through the process so you are not wasting the potential that's already within you. So that's why brainstorming is so important. So once you have gathered everything that you want to do within your brainstorm, it is now ready for you to pair your concept with the current trends of the market. And the way to do that is by determining your target market. So let's just go over the description of what that is. A target market is a specific group of people you want to reach with your marketing message. They are the group of people that are more likely to become clients based on the 5 target marketing factors. And in this illustration, you will see the 5 target marketing factors, and that's going to be their social graphics, their behaviors, their psychographics, their geographics, and then their demographics. So those 5 components is what's going to create what I call a profile for your target market or your best case scenario as far as the type of clients or customers that you're going to attract. And to just go a step further, you're going to think of things like, well, you know, what did this person look like, right? Is it a male or female? Is it of a certain age group, right? What are their lifestyles? Are they married? Are they single? You know, do they have children? And you're also going to think of what solution or what value you're providing, which is kind of getting ahead of myself, but a lot of those questions are going to be asked during this process when you're developing the profile for your most likely customer. All right, so once you have your target market established, now it's time for you to establish your value proposition. And your value proposition is going to be that one thing that acts as the core to your competitive advantage. You know, I don't know if you watch SpongeBob, but you know, with the Krabby Patty, it was like the secret, you know, recipe or whatever. So your ideas is your Krabby Patty recipe, so to speak. So it is going to be the core of what helps you to stand out, you know, versus your competition. It also is the driver that increases your market share. So once you launch into the business or the market, your goal is to saturate the market as much as possible so you can develop this, you know, core of what your customer base is, which is of course going to drive your profit margins. Lastly, with establishing a value proposition, your unique approach to delivering the product or service is what's going to be key. So let me just use a franchise, for example. You can go to the same burger joint, right? And it can have the same logo, the same menu, but although the food may taste the same, the atmosphere or the culture of that organization can change from location to location. And the special sauce is the culture that is brought about based on the leadership of that particular location. It's going to be you as the business owner that's going to make your location special versus any other place that consumer can go to. So by you, you know, establishing a value proposition that is going to set you apart or maybe even set the bar, that is going to speak volumes in reference to your sustainability in the marketplace. So there is 5 things that you're going to want to do to establish your value proposition. And the first one is you're going to want to identify all of the benefits your product offers. Second is you're going to want to describe what makes these benefits valuable to the consumer. Third is you want to identify your so again, as business owners, we are problem solvers, okay? We're using either a service or a product to do so. Number 4 is connect your value to your buyer's problem. So now that you know that you are the solution, now you have to learn how to communicate that to your consumer. And last but not least, you know, you want to establish what makes you, you know, more preferred as far as the value you provide. Okay. So, and that's also going to, you know, justify your pricing, which we're going to get into that later on in the series. All right. So the next stage is going to be setting your goals. And this is a crucial part, guys. If you take nothing from what I say, I really want you to make sure that you actually set some goals, because a lot of times, you know, we treat our business almost like a job, you know, paycheck to paycheck. But if you're going to thrive, you have to have a vision for your business. And your vision is going to be mapped by by your ability to goal set. So why is goal setting important? One of the reasons goals are so important is that they give you direction. When you've got a clear set and well-defined goal, they make lots of decision making easier for you. You don't need to expend any mental energy thinking about certain courses of action because they don't fit your goals. So your goals are kind of like the barriers in which your business is going to operate, right? And those barriers are set there to basically save you from misuse of resources, because you're going to know based on your goals what is good for the business and what isn't. So it's going to be easy for you to, work out of a case of urgency. And that's going to be really key to actually hitting your goals and hitting your numbers and staying in the game long term. So SMART goals. I'm sure you've all have heard of the SMART goal planning system. And as a strategist, I highly suggest as a business owner that this is the goal setting system of choice for you, simply because the SMART, goal acronym stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based goals. And all of those components are going to be key to moving you swiftly through the process of launching and sustaining a business. All right, so listen, now that we're at the executive summary, what that means is you have put or piece together all of the components to now start writing down, everything that you look to do in the future in regards to launching your business. So according to the SBA website, your executive summary is going to briefly tell your reader what your company is and why it's going to be successful. It's going to include your mission statement, your product and service, as well as basic information about your company's leadership, team, employees, and location. You should also include financial information and high-level growth plans if you plan on financing, the capital needed to launch your brand. And that's going to be the majority of us. The majority of us may not have the capital necessary to sustain you for 5 years and beyond. So ensuring that you know your numbers is going to be crucial to actually getting or obtaining that capital needed through financing. All right, so this list before you is basically the table of contents according to the SBA website of what should be in your executive summary. And I'm just gonna go over what each of them should detail. So your company description is basically going to provide the detailed information about your company. You're going to go into detail about the problems your business solves, and you want to be very specific and list any consumers, organizations, or businesses who are more likely to be within your target market. And basically what you're doing is you're just setting the basis for why your business concept is feasible. Next is you want to explain the competitive advantages that will make your business successful and the experts on your team that help you, come up with that basis. You also want to make sure that you explain why your location was chosen, because location is pretty much, 50% of what is going to drive your market share. And also you want to talk about the strengths in which drove your decisions. All right. So once you have your company description established, you now want to go into your market analysis. And in your market analysis, you'll need a good understanding of your industry outlook as well as your target market profile. Competitive research will show you what the other businesses are currently doing and what makes them successful. And I highly suggest, really researching your competitors, because they are going to make you, competitive, so to speak. In your market research, look for trends and themes. These trends and themes are going to help you to spike income or spike profit margins during certain times of the year. And a good example of that would be, holidays. A lot of times, especially if you're retail, people do amazing things, geared around themes of holidays to spike, revenue during those moments. And also, you want to make sure you understand what do successful competition do to be so successful, and why is it working for them. You also want to know how you can do it better, and that goes back to establishing your value proposition. You don't want to rise to the occasion of your competitors, you want to rise above them. Lastly, but not least, you want to be able to explain why there's room for your particular business concept in the current forecast or the current atmosphere, as to why people are, maybe utilizing your product or service. All right. So the next thing is, now we're going to get into pretty much the day-to-day operations of your business, and that's going to be your organization and management. And here you basically is going to explain like the legal structure of your business. You also want to state whether you have or intend to incorporate your business either as a C or S corp, and why that's important. And that's going to get really, into the basis of taxation and liability and things like that. But you really just want to, lay out the organizational systems of your business. You want to chart out leadership during this time, as well as, pretty much explain the growth as an organization, right? Maybe right now you're starting with maybe one or two people, but in this area, you want to show how there's room, for growth with personnel as you reach some of your milestones. All right. Also, in your organization and management, it is going to detail the roles and responsibility of key people. So if you haven't already thought about who your key people are or your team, I would highly recommend that you start thinking about that when you get into the place of, drafting the organizational and management description of your business. So after that, it gets really easy. You're going to go into explaining what your product or service line is. And this is where your passion lies. So this should be, very easy to do. And you're simply just going to describe what it is you sell or what service you offer. You want to explain the benefits and how they relate to your customer, as well as what the projections of growth is going to look like. And you want to make sure that you convey it in a way that's relevant to real life scenarios, okay? And again, this is where your research comes in. So you definitely want to, study your competitors or study a model of success within that particular industry already. All right, so next is going to be your marketing and sales. And in marketing and sales, this is where a lot of your energy is going to be put in place. And I highly recommend that you do not do this alone. Maybe you want to seek a marketing consultant or maybe even a marketing firm to help you with this, because your marketing is almost like your business utility bill. If you are not putting enough money to your marketing, well, your lights is going to be turned off, before the end of the month, so to speak. And what that means is you're not going to have enough lead generation to keep your business afloat. So I highly recommend that 80% of your energy when you first launch a business is going to be focused on your marketing and sales, and 20% on everything else, because without it, you just simply won't grow. There's no single way to approach developing a marketing strategy. Your strategy should involve and change as the needs of the market, change. So you want to make sure that you tailor or you almost anticipate the needs of the market. And when you're able to do that and get ahead of the game, your market, or your profit margins, that is, will show, how good or how much in your favor, thinking in that way is. And your marketing plan is going to show how you're able to do that. Your goal in this section is to describe how you're going to attract and retain customers, as well as describe how you're going to develop an approach to sell. Okay. And I'm sorry, guys, a lot of us have this negative stigma on being a salesman. I know I do. I do not consider myself a salesman, but truth be told, if you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, you are in the business of selling, and you have to learn a process in how to, pique interest and then close for a sale. And that is something that was a very, big pill for me to swallow, because I am naturally an introverted person. I don't know how to persuade people. I'm a really good facilitator, but when it comes to, kind of pushing people to make a decision with urgency, that has been something of a struggle for me. So it's very important that you understand the sales process and how important that's going to be to grow in your business. All right, so let's get into why you're really here. And that's going to be, addressing your funding requests, because the majority of small businesses need capital in order to grow past that first 5 years. So if you are asking for funding, this is where you will outline your funding requirements, okay? Your goal is to clearly explain how much funding you'll need over the next 5 years and what you're going to use it for. Okay. And really, guys, what you're saying is, hey, this is what is needed to grow, and this is what I'm going to do with it. It's really showing, potential lenders, basically your ability to be a steward over your resources. And that is really critical. They want to make sure that although your business thrives, most importantly, you are making enough, revenue to pay them back. And that's simply what you're going to be doing in this area. You want to make it very detailed. You want to explain what debt or equity you have, which is skin in the game, right up front, as well as any terms that you would like to be applied. Basically, what you want to do in this scenario is you want to, offer the best case scenario for you to pay them back. So really negotiate with them. Really, describe what the best case scenario for you is and convey it in a way that is going to be beneficial to them. And this is where you need to probably put on your negotiation hat. And again, if you do not have a consultant, I would highly recommend that you consult one, because they're going to help you, work through the process of negotiating for the money and the resources that you need. All right. So next is going to be your financial projections. And listen, guys, it is so easy to get these big eyes, filled with dollar signs, because you feel that if you need a product or if you need a service, the whole wide world needs it too. And you're going to learn, sooner than later, that it is going to take a lot of time and effort to convince enough people consistently to do business with you. So here is where you really need to focus your expectations on what your research has delivered to you. Okay, so supplement your funding request with financial projections. Your goal is to convince the reader that your business is stable and will be financially sound. Okay, this is where it's so important to make sure that you do your homework and ask yourself difficult questions about the financial feasibility of your brand. Okay, you want to make sure that there's enough of a market share and enough of a problem for your solution, because if it isn't, although you may have the passion and you may have an incredible, concept, the financial revenue portion won't match, and you want to make sure that they do. All right, so last but not least is your appendix, and this is going to be any supplemental information. You want to use your appendix to provide supporting documentation. And this is going to be like, maybe your credit history, your resume, maybe pictures of your products, any letters or references, licensing, permits, patents, any legal documentation, or anything that is going to further explain your intellectual property and how it relates to the value building of your concept. So you're going to put all of that there. And that is going to pretty much make up your executive summary. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, every lender is different. From my experience, most lenders just look at your, executive summary to make a decision about lending, because pretty much everything that they need to make an educated decision, if you do it correctly, it's going to be in your executive summary. And then you back it with all of your necessary documents in the appendix. Very rarely do they read over the portion of like a 20 to 50 page document, because your business plan is going to be pretty robust. I mean, it is literally mapping out the next 5 years and beyond of your business concept. So you can imagine that is going to take a little bit of time and dedication, and a lot of lenders don't have it. So you really want to put your best foot forward in writing your executive summary. All right. So just moving past the training, our mission is to be an assistance regardless of where you are in the planning or development stages of launching your business. And we just want to make sure that you understand the resources that are available to you through the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, as well as through my company. And Zap, if you don't mind at this moment, can you just give a brief overview as to what, the Nashville Entrepreneur Center have to offer, and how anyone who may not necessarily be, a part of our community, how they can get started and what benefit it will provide moving forward?
Sure. There's really three ways in which we help support entrepreneurs. First is programs, second is membership, and third is just ecosystem at large. Sorry, also having to clear my throat a lot. Membership means that you have access to workshops like this I usually have about 2 a month, as well as a ton of different networking events with other fellow entrepreneurs. I think it's great. I kind of describe this being around people who get it, of they're also starting a business and want to talk to you about it. A lot of the resources there are informal. It's just connecting with the community, as well as we have, hands down, the cheapest office space in Nashville once we reopen again. Programs is a very formal type of way to get involved, where you're part of a cohort. There's classes that you're required to attend, and it really walks you through like very specifics of whatever stage of business or program you're a part of. And an ecosystem at large is that we host a lot of public workshops like this. There's always stuff going on that we have our hands in, like hosting events or speaking at events or supporting different things. But really just trying to support entrepreneurs. I put my email in the chat if anyone wants to reach out. But there's my overview, Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. And guys, I love being a part of the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. Again, I am an advisor there, and I am there almost daily helping small business owners, grasp the concept of growing their business, long term. And it's so many of us there that is available to you. And it's just the co-working atmosphere. I'm telling you, it's one thing to be in an office by yourself, but it's completely different when you're around other like-minded people, because the ideas that just jump out of people and land on other people by accident is just amazing. And to watch that organically is just an amazing experience. So if you would like to schedule a tour of this amazing, location, please do so by contacting Zap, or you can contact myself. But if you contact me, I'm just simply going to redirect you to Zap. So let's talk about Celebrity BMI Group. So for those of you who have never met me, my name is Lovely Lancaster. As I said before, I am a business and financial strategist. And what I do is I help serious entrepreneurs create and sustain income producing assets to build wealth long term. And the benefit of that is I try to help you collapse time. Something that will probably take you, 5 to 10 years by yourself. My goal is for it to take you a whole lot less time. So by working with a strategist such as myself, you won't have to go through as many hurdles to get to your, particular end result or desired end result. And the services that we provide is really based on where you're at in the process of launching your business concept. So we can help you in the development stage as well as on to sustainability long term. We have a team of professionals that can even help you with the exit strategy portion, right? The list goes on and on as far as the services. And then last but not least, resources. If I don't know how to help you, I have a plethora of a knowledge as well as a resource of other, professionals, thanks to the EC, that I can at least point you in the right direction. So none of the least, if I'm unable to help you, I at least know someone that can. So I have not put my email in the chat box yet, but we will do a follow-up for everyone that is on the webinar today. But my email is lovelyplancaster@gmail.com. That is my direct email address. Again, it's lovelyplancaster@gmail.com. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. I am a real person. I will respond. I can promise you that. All right, so now we're at the portion of any questions, and I am so surprised that I'm like right on time because my goal was to have about 15 to 10 minutes where we can openly engage with you all. And if you don't mind, we're going to ask you to unmute if you have a question. Please be sure to state your name and where you're located so we can get a grasp as to what networks may be centered around your particular location, so we can help you implement and engage. So if you got any questions, I'm just going to be silent and just wait for you guys to start asking.
All right, folks, don't be shy.
I have a question. This is Chelsea Roker, and I'm in Nashville. I'm part of the pre-flight program, so I'm in my idea phase, but I'm also,
Hey, Chelsea, I think your volume isn't working. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm
as well.
having a
So
hard time understanding.
getting ready to pitch, and I was wondering if you would be what I have put. Oh,
So Chelsea, I am so sorry, but we didn't hear anything that you said. It kind of glitched out, and I apologize for that. And again, thank you for your patience with all this technology that we're using. Can you please restate your question?
Or you could type it into the chat, Chelsea.
is this any better?
Yes.
It looks like I can hear you now.
if that makes it easier.
You can just go into the chat. Chelsea? All right. I'll message her.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, it looks like they're coming through.
People are so shy in this virtual world, Lovely. No one wants to talk to us. It's okay. I ran like an 80-person webinar last week and not a single person asked a question. And it was crazy. I'm like, why did 80 people tune into this to ask no questions? But, oh well.
Well, hopefully that means that everyone got of it what they were hoping to get. So, but I'm still going to be open to any question. I'm actually going on to my DM because I did get some questions. Okay, so I'm not sure who this is, but it is JJ. Okay, JJ. So his question was, I have no clue how to get started with writing my business plan. How do I get started? I have a good concept and uh, a product that I believe in. I just don't know how to convey it. I am needing financing, so I'm not sure how to get started. Okay. So JJ, it sounds like you've already started within the concept of, creating your concept. And you're right, probably where you need to be to maybe consult a consultant. I'm not sure exactly where you live at, but if you are, in the Nashville area, I would highly recommend you do visit the Entrepreneur Center. And if you're unable to, or then I would love to sit down and talk with you myself. I do a lot of virtual sessions with people throughout the country, as well as a few people outside, of the United States. But I would love to at least just have a free session with you in which I can help walk you through at least developing an outline for what is necessary to actually write your business plan. I do have several packages available as well that's pretty, affordable. And I can send you that information via your DM in just a moment to see how I can get started. Or like I said, contact the EC. You can reach me there as well, but you definitely probably need to consult a professional that can help you get started. All right. Seeing if there's any more.
Any other questions for folks still on the call?
All right. So I have another one. This is from Chelsea. She said, may I schedule an advisor meeting with you? Absolutely. So I believe, Chelsea, you said that you are in the pre-launch program. Because you are a part of that program, sitting down with me would be free through the EC. So what you can do is you can either contact me directly or you can contact the EC and they will get you on my calendar. But absolutely, I would love to sit down and talk with you and help walk you through the process. Pretty much everyone else is just giving me their opinions of the webinar, and thank you guys. I'm seeing a lot of good jobs and, good presentation. Listen, your feedback, so to speak, is very well appreciated. So